Flipping through The Raven, Lightning Comics #6. This story opens by telling us the Raven is really Detective Sergeant Danny Darton, which is already a pretty aggressive work-life balance. He's described as a modern Robin Hood who robs crooked rich people to help the poor, and tonight he's breaking into retired gangster Andrew Gamma's safe to get money for an orphan asylum. So far, honestly, not the worst Golden Age motive. Then he hears crackling in the hall, sees smoke, and runs into Hannigan, who apparently decided revenge and arson should go together. Hannigan locks the Raven in and tells him he's going to die like a rat in a trap, which is not especially subtle, but it gets the point across. Then, in a pretty bold move, Hannigan calls Chief Lash and reports that the Raven set the Gamma Mansion on fire himself. So he starts the fire, frames the guy inside it, and still finds time to make a phone call. Very efficient criminal. The Raven gets the locked door open, only to find the stairs are gone, and the whole place is basically turning into a furnace. Fire engines and police cars start racing to the scene, and Lola Lash follows along too. This is not ideal, because Lola is both the police chief's daughter and Danny Darton's fiancée, which means the secret identity situation here is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Chief Lash tells Lola the Raven started the fire and is trapped inside. Lola is horrified and starts begging her father to save him anyway, even if he is the Raven. And then the mansion collapses. So from the outside, it looks like that's the end of him right there. Except it isn't. Lola runs off heartbroken, and Danny suddenly shows up alive, explaining he found a skylight, got onto the roof, and climbed down a tree. So apparently that was his backup plan the whole time. He tells Lola maybe she's right about taking too many chances, then immediately decides he cannot let the Raven get blamed for the fire, and heads back into the case. A brief moment of self-reflection, then straight back to bad decisions. Danny calls his assistant Mike and tells him Hannigan is running an arson gang and needs to be tracked down. Then Danny goes to see Chief Lash, who is absolutely convinced the Raven is behind the fires. The chief says he's going to squeeze Andrew Gamma until he proves the Raven was in on the whole thing. Danny gets assigned to check the other mysterious fires, which is polite comic book language for, go do detective work while I make this worse. Then the chief gets a phone call from the Raven, who tells him he's got the wrong man. Chief Lash is not persuaded. Gamma gets hauled in and questioned for what the comic calls an hour, which looks a lot like a very long night. Eventually, Gamma starts to crack and admits he made a deal to burn down his own place for insurance money. But just as he's about to name the man behind it, he gets shot from a room across the alley. So that confession had a pretty short shelf life. The police figure the shot came from the rooming house across the street. Then Chief Lash spots a man he recognizes as Whitey, Hannigan's assistant, getting into a cab. At this point, even the chief starts realizing the Raven may not have been making things up. So he tails the cab to the waterfront, which is where comic book crime always gets more serious. Chief Lash sneaks into the warehouse and overhears Hannigan openly admitting he runs the arson ring and had Gamma watched in case he talked. So yes, the Raven was right all along. Unfortunately, the chief is discovered about 5 seconds later and gets knocked out. That is one downside to doing undercover work without the cape and mask. Later that night, Danny still hasn't heard from Mike and starts to worry. Then the phone rings. Mike says he found Hannigan's hideout at the Red Star warehouse, but now he's a prisoner, and the gang has Chief Lash too. Danny tells Lola it was a personal call and heads out, which is not exactly airtight, but apparently it's enough for now. From here on, he says, he operates as the Raven. The Raven reaches the warehouse, climbs up the outside, finds a trap door, and drops in on one of the guards. He gets the location of the prisoners the fast way, which is to say he scares the answer out of the man and then knocks him flat. No wasted motion here. He heads straight for the office where Mike and Chief Lash are tied up. The Raven frees Mike and Chief Lash, hands Mike a gun, and gets thanked by the chief in the most police chief way possible. Lash basically says, "Yes, I appreciate the rescue, but I still intend to arrest you later." Fair enough. The Raven tells him to come back with the cops while he holds the gang. Then he and Mike storm the room, fight the crooks, and decide the gang's money's going to the orphan asylum after all. By the time the police return, everybody's trussed up and ready to confess. And at the very end, Lola worries that one of these days her father is going to realize Danny is the Raven. Danny says he'll be careful, which in Golden Age comics usually means absolutely not. This one's fun. The Raven is basically a Robin Hood crime fighter who spends half his time helping the police and the other half making their jobs a lot more confusing. You get arson, gangsters, a fake death, secret hideouts, a waterfront warehouse, and a hero who really could simplify his life by explaining things to literally one person.